He stares at you for a response, and then after you don't give him one, he's like, "Well, I didn't know my backstory was that stunning. Kind of figured it was normal, but that's me."
Aelin will shake his head just a little bit. I'm sorry, lad. I was lost in thought.
Not a problem.
Well, I find the concept of combat for its own sake to be quite a distasteful thought. And I would like to point out that perhaps your greatest difficulty at settling on a planet may be Dekaya's, shall we say, previous relationship with said spirits.
That will not be an issue as long as she does not return to the city.
See, you're already starting to come my way. And I am a bit surprised by that, Mandalorian. Your people fight simply to wage on another's skill and abilities. In fact, Johnny and the Mandalorians are not that much different.
Wait, I'm confused. Ajax not the one who said that. Super confused.
I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
you guys
translate your voice.
Ajax very much
Yeah.
in agreement with this discussion, what's going on. He's just not saying anything.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you guys can sound similar with or
What, even
without.
with the voice modifiers, really?
Yeah, they both
Are you
have
sure?
that kind
Are
of.
you sure?
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Retcon. Instead, what he says is, "What do you find distasteful about learning once a person's true self?"
Well, certainly you can learn someone's true self, although whether it requires combat to do so is highly questionable.
How would you propose to find out what someone really is on the inside?
By seeing their inner character, possibly through difficult times, although certainly not difficult times of your own creation through combat.
Well, the difficult times can be caused by other things, but I'd rather be prepared for those. Be prepared for combat. Be trained to fight. When difficult times come, you're ready for it. And as an added bonus, you really get to see who people are regardless, and you're prepared. If you go through thinking, oh, well, I'll just, tough times, we get to actually see who people are, but if you're not prepared for it, more often than not, you'll end up dead, and it won't matter if you know someone's true self or not.
Well, if your true self is that you're going to attack me to find out my true self, I think I know enough about your true self.
It's not necessarily always intent to kill. Fighting is different. Not always the same. Surely the Jedi spar with each other. This is just a little bit more serious than that.
Martial discipline can hone the mind and the senses, but that is not what combat is. Combat can be a disruption of harmony.
This is beside the point. Frankly, I don't see another way out of this. We are on a time crunch. You said 5 days, right?
Indeed.
We can search for somebody else to take us, but we can take this deal and try our best to work out peaceful negotiations between the two. It's better than the alternative of letting the entire colony be destroyed from space.
Oh, there's no question that we should take the deal.
Good, so we can dispute these things later. Perhaps on the travels, we're wasting precious time here.
And given that the colony will probably be destroyed without your assistance, Gambler, that will probably weigh favorably in your position.
Well, as I said, I was a pretty decent Pazak player back in the day.
So can we all agree that we should agree to his terms, work with him, stop the fleet, save the colony?
And get off this planet.
I think that's what I've been waiting for y'all to say.
Well, Toronto, it's technically your deal, so you're gonna have to be the one that finishes it.
Kairanu looks to you, Shiloh. Do you have further concerns, my apprentice?
Nothing in regards to this deal.
Then let me say this before we move on. I understand. I taught you all you know about this. About harmony and discord. But the truth is, we don't have the resources right now to ensure peace continually. I think this deal is the shortest method to continued harmony. I may disagree with how the Chani, Mandalorians, and others perceive harmony in their own worlds. But what I can't disagree on is the fact that these people, New Thanai, will be protected, even with these people being of a different shade than we are. With that, he turns to the Gambler. We accept you. He claps his hands together. Good. Excellent. Now we can finally start things off right. You know, I wasn't 100% certain you were going to take this deal. To be honest, between Dakaya and what I saw on the box, I have to say that I like you. You all made decisions that most people around here wouldn't. I can respect that. Well, as you've, some of you, as I said, it took you 2 days to get through that box. So, some of the arrangements have already been made, which, again, would have been expensive if you had said no. So, with that, I suggest you take the day to rest up and check with the shop, see if Anki has got anything useful. And then early in the morning, I'll have the ship waiting for you.
One other thing. We rented speeders to get here. I would hate to have a bounty on my head when I return to this planet if I ever needed to do so in the future. Would any of your men be able to return the bikes and, well, potentially cover the cost? If not, I think we'll have enough credits to do so.
Already been done, friend. As I said, I do owe you something for bringing Dakaya back.
Well, thank you. That at least resolves at least one problem we had leaving this planet. Where should we meet you tomorrow morning?
Don't worry about it. Someone will come to your quarters one at a time.
And Ajax will nod and then walk out.
Alright, you said you have shops here. You wouldn't wouldn't by chance happen to have somebody who can repair my coat, do you?
Sure, Ankia can repair anything. I'm sure she can help you out there.
Alright, thank you. And Alan will head on out and try to get his coat repaired.
Right.
For that matter, though it's been a low priority for her, Kalani might have some rips and stuff in her robe-like thing. Not sure if there's a better term for that kind of clothing. She doesn't have the outer long cloak part.
And actually, Ajax comes walking back in because he realized he forgot something.
Yes, friend?
Well, I was thinking in terms of boarding this ship. In the event we were separated and the computer terminals needed accessing, I would assume that all of the terminals would be in Sith.
Yes.
Would it be possible, for the sake of the mission, to at least give me a brief overview, some teachings, as it were, so I could at least navigate my way around rudimentarily inside these computer systems? That way, if I need to open doors, shut doors, things of that nature, I can do it.
Perhaps. Give me an hour or two to think on that. I'll see what I can come up with.
Thank you.
Out of character, in the last level up, I increased my intelligence score, so I kind of got like an extra language, but I was gonna wait to maybe see if I could use that as like a substitute for getting an extra language. But obviously that's your call.
You mean you want to learn Sith?
Yeah, I mean, at least, yeah, maybe slowly over time, but like in like the right now, like just like general computer terms.
That's fine. Learning language in Star Wars is a lot easier to some degree, as long as it's not too old, just because there's a lot more ways to learn it. So, you know, it's been long enough. You could probably pick up enough to be maybe not the term is fluent, but well enough that you could make your way around.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, and I just wanted to role play it, so it actually kind of made sense.
Yeah, that's fine.
So wait, what exactly is happening now? I missed a little bit because I was reading something in the book.
Is Sith the default language on the Rosetta Stone program, Barry?
Not if you got it in the Republic.
Well, actually, if you consider that C-3PO, who was built by a little brat, and I'm not going to go there, has 6 million forms of communications, already, or is fluent in over 6 million forms of communications, Rosetta Stone should be able to handle at least the major languages of this particular time period. Sith being one of them.
Anyway, that's beside the point. So yeah, Ajax will walk back out after he nods.
That and
Mind if
there's
I ask what the last thing he said was?
Me or the gambler? He was thinking
Yeah.
about instructing me enough so that I could get around computer systems in case we get separated on the ship. So like some Sith stuff.
Mm.
that and the Hutts would make a lot of money off of making sure Rosetta Stone covers as many languages as possible.
To reiterate what I've been typing down in the bottom, anyone who's paying attention, who's looking at Picasso would notice him mumbling.
What's up, Picaz?
Because I suddenly snap up. Oh, nothing.
Kalani blinks and then just kind of sighs and continues on and heads out the door.
You can see the gambler is smiling again and waving goodbye. It's a little bit of a strange picture as his red eyes are still seem to like light up as he smiles. But it's kind of strange just how the contrast is. But
He's still quite unsettling.
But you see him wave goodbye, and as you leave, you just hear under his breath, "What an interesting group," as the door closes.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we are quite the interesting group, aren't we? Oh boy.
Kaz probably follows shortly after he notices that they've all left.
Ajax will see if he can find Keiranu and Shialu if they're together or what not.
Yeah, I was going to be by Keiranu asking him if he needed some medical attention. Or rather, insisting that he get some medical attention and rest.
He giggles a little bit and just kind of, pushes it aside. I will be fine. Little rest, meditation. I'll be right back up to where I'm supposed to be.
Kaz suddenly spins on his heel and walks back to find Akaya.
She's still at the console.
And he asks about more lessons in Sith when she has time.
You mean, are you saying you wish to learn more?
Kaz nods. As far as, the language.
How about you for dinner? Should be dinner time pretty soon.
Because cocks his head in a bit of confusion and then realizes, oh, and then nods. Keep in mind the squid face.
Yeah, but she may not know.
Yeah.
She gives you a little bit of a frown. Very well. Good. You know that I don't mean any. Just, I'd like to eat while we're doing. It's going to be dinner time soon. I don't want you to think that. Never mind. Just
Because chuckles.
She gives you still a confused look, and then she kind of goes back to what she was doing. You can see a huge smile forming on the gambler's face as he just sort of laughs at the two of you.
Because wanders off to find the group and figure out about rooms or whatever is going to happen.
Alright, Ajax, you wanted to find the 2 TIA members?
Yep.
I'd say probably about this time, Kairanu, being pretty hungry, has shuffled Shialu over towards the food area.
Ajax will go over there.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but may I join you?
Please.
Sure.
Yeah, Ajax will take off his helmet.
Well, I wouldn't ask this right now necessarily, but seeing as we're about to go on another dangerous mission, I figured right now would be the best time to discuss it. You both seem fairly adept in healing. I was wondering if you could help me.
Well, we certainly can try. What seems to be the matter?
I'm not sure if you've noticed or not, the seizure kind of spasmodic attacks I've been having.
I thought that was a symptom of Dekaya crushing your lungs.
That triggered attack, no. It's a remaining symptom of a neurological disease I had.
Well, tell us. We'll see what we can do.
No, it's a disorder, Cathington's disorder. Neurological causes, impairs movement, causes seizures. I was cured, but I had the disease for so long I have these latent, slight brain damage, and normal operating procedures cannot fix it. And, well, I've been searching for alternative methods of healing. I haven't been able to find anything, but I've seen you both use the forts to repair people. And I was wondering if you could take a look and see if you can get rid of it, because if I have another attack during a battle, it could mean life and death for all of us.
Well, Master, I think that we should try our best to help Ajax. He has been quite helpful and intriguingly honorable in our adventures together.
And between the two of you, he listens to you, Shialu, but is a little distracted by Pakaz. And yes, well, it was useful at the moment. Thank you again. Yes, Shialu, I agree. He kind of like gives you guys a confrowned look as he's looking between the two of you, like you're both unaware that he's going through both of you.
Can I make a roll to see if I've heard of this disease?
Sure. This doesn't ring any bells. Well, my suggestion to start this with would be to try and determine the damage. Shialu, will you help me with this?
What was that? What did he ask?
He's asking, he wants to determine the damage done to Ajax, and he's asking you to help him.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, you can eat first.
This will only take a moment.
Ajax will nod.
He places a large hand on the one side of your head. It almost covers your head completely. But he holds it there on the one side, and then he nods to you, Shialu.
So then I reach out and put my hand on the other side of his head.
Okay, make a use the force check. Okay. Between the two of you, you manage to find sort of the damaged area of Ajax's mind. You can see kind of like broken strands, just sort of in this one section. As you both dig in, you can feel your master kind of in your own head speaking to you, and he says to you, with the force this can be repaired, but it would be a difficult and perhaps a long period of time, but it can be done. What do you think?
Yes, well, I can sense the damage here. We might be able to imbue these damaged areas with energy and regenerate them. Perhaps we might have time while we're on board the ship. And I think you should rest first before we exert ourselves thusly.
Oh, I agree. But, well, I'll tell you afterwards. At this point, he releases his hold on you, Ajax. From your perspective, you can feel a sort of a gentle force push its way into your mind, but it's warm and not uninviting and not uncomfortable. But it is rather strange as someone who isn't close to the force and can't feel it the way that a force user can. But when he pulls away, the world kind of comes back into focus, and you're right back to where you were. I believe that this can be repaired, though it may take a bit of time. I believe that our skills would be capable of repairing this damage to you.
Would you have time before we have to board the ship, or would it have to wait until after?
I'm afraid I won't be much use to you in this condition right now. I'm quite spent. Even the looking into your mind was taxing on my abilities.
Understandable. I appreciate it.
But even if I were not here, Shialu, I believe, is perfectly capable of this, though it may take him a little longer than it would me.
Well, I will be ready whenever you wish to begin. Obviously, you will have control over timing since I have no idea what is required. Let me know when you wish to attempt it. But thank you.
He nods, and he says you're welcome, but he says it in Mandoese.
Well, well, well.
And then Ajax will get up, put his helmet back on, and walk away.
And at that point, Kairanu begins to dig into his plate of food.
So, What I missed is, are we leaving like the next day?
Mm-hmm. Very early in the morning. There is a shop that you are welcome to explore, as well as a cantina, and it is an entire gambling establishment, so there are things to do before you sleep, if you'd like to.
Hmm. The cause needs money. Would he though? I feel that he would probably go to the gambler right about now and ask him if he has any quick mechanic work that he needs done. Because hasn't had a chance to ply the trade in a long time, and he hasn't had a chance to replace all of the stuff that got stolen from him and that he left behind in the quick panic to leave Telos.
Okay. You try to find the gambler again, but his guards inform you that he's currently busy with some tasks elsewhere. But when you mention mechanic work to them, they do mention that a couple of their machines have been acting a little strange, and they point you to some places where you can be of use.
Kaz wanders off to go do whatever it is they said, but while trying to leave enough time, at least 4 hours of time, whatever work he does to, force trance and get some rest.
Okay. Kalani, is there anything you'd like to accomplish?
I think Ayland and I were heading to get the clothes repaired.
Right.
Yep.
And then if when you mentioned food, that's probably going to be another priority somewhere in there.
Right. You find a small little shop off to the side. At first, it looks like a gift shop. It's got little knickknacks here and there, but as you get further in, you can see things like weapons and med packs stocked on the shelves. Behind the counter is a small, blue-skinned woman with white hair, but she has human-looking eyes. And you see she's talking to a couple customers, pointing some things out. As you approach her, she smiles and, "Welcome to Ankia's shop. What can I do for you?"
Hello, Loss. I'd like to see if I can get my cut repaired. And he takes off his jacket and gently lays it down on the counter.
She looks at the holes. "No, that shouldn't be a problem. Many of you mercenary folk get this kind of stuff happen all the time. I've got the perfect machine just that'll fix it right up. Probably won't even take me 5 minutes."
Thank you, Loss.
Mm-hmm. And you, miss? Like, in a kind of a question, like she's not quite certain what you are.
Ayland just tilts his head and kind of smirks.
Does Ayland even know?
By now, he's figured out. After spending 3 months on a planet and they stick her on the girl's side, yeah. And
where were we?
that's for the completest, densest viewpoint. Yeah.
Okay, where were we?
The little girl's trying to figure out if you're a girl or a guy. There are not, to her credit, there are not very many Tirani floating around, at least over here on Korriban.
Let's see. Just try to ignore that. Uh, my clothes are ripped too.
She reaches over the counter and pokes her fingers through some of the holes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem either. Well, hand them over and I'll get them working on them right away.
Yeah, Ajax gonna look for a shop too.
Then you'll be coming in to the same emporium, and you see your two companions right now are doing something with their clothes at the front counter. I can fix that both up for you. Say 20 credits apiece.
How about 35 for both?
Deal.
Alright, that'll work. And Aelin will just toss 30 credits over.
She takes it and she shakes your jacket, and then she looks at you, Kalani.
I'm sorry, I toss over 35. I forgot the numbers.
What?
Your clothes.
I missed something.
She can't repair your clothes if they're on you.
Yeah,
Hey, we're going through this again.
do you have a dressing room or something?
Oh, well, I thought, because Wookiees... Yeah, there's one in the back.
Aelin can't help but just laugh out loud.
She kind of... Her blue skin reddens a little bit as she, realizing the awkwardness of the situation.
This reminds me of when you turned into a dog.
Boy. Moving on.
So, she goes into the back. About 10 minutes later, she reemerges with your coat. But Kalani, she brings back your robe to you in the dressing room, and she's very careful as she's handing it back, not to look at you or anything, because you seem to be bashful about it. And then she goes back.
Thank you.
I wonder if she's not sure if you're a guy.
Even cat-like voice, I think, is indication that she's a girl. When she speaks, at least.
So, Ajax, it's been like 10 minutes, and I'm sure you've probably talked to Aelin about what's going on, and but the young girls have come back to the counter if you'd like to purchase anything from her.
Yeah, he'll take off his helmet.
Hey, ma'am, I was wondering if you could upgrade a data pad I have.
Upgrade it? To what?
Well, it's fairly simple, but maybe add some drive to it to allow it to perform more complex calculations, programs, things of that nature.
Well, I mean, I could, but the easiest would just be to transfer your data to a more sophisticated data pad.
The data pad has sentimental value.
Ah. Well, see.
But if it would be cheaper to purchase another data pad than it would be to upgrade this one, then I might do that.
Well, it all depends on the parts. I could upgrade it. A brand new data pad would bring you 1,000 credits. I'm guessing you just have a standard model.
Fairly standard, yes.
I could probably upgrade it for 500.
About how long would it take? We're departing in the morning.
Oh, it should be done by then, but it will take me a couple hours.
Right, well, if you promise not to lose it, that sounds like a good deal to me.
Alright. Half now, half when it's done?
That sounds amenable. Also, do you have any explosives?
She gives you a wicked grin and points to a whole rack of explosives.
Alright, I might have to
Because
take a look at some of that.
And then he'll hand over 250 credits to her and the data pad, and then walk over to the rack.
Alright. She takes it and moves it towards the back. But before she does, she says, if anyone needs me, if anyone wants to buy anything, just ring the bell and I'll come running. Alright? And she goes to the back.
Okay, so what kind of explosives are we talking about here?
Planning on blowing something up, laddie. We'll be in a spaceship. There could be a hole that might suck you out.
Interior corridors, blocking routes for enemy troops, setting traps, maybe assassinating someone.
I can look up the price of grenades.
Yeah, I saw the price of grenades when we started, and I was like,
Yeah, I know that they've got to be they've got to cost a decent amount.
Yes, you can find there's several explosive charges. And
Whoa, those explosive charges, man.
Yeah, what page of the rulebook is that on? I just want to double check to see if I actually want anything.
well, the explosive charges are on page 131 of the core rule book.
And the grenades are on 127.
Yep. Alright, so I'll give you a chance to look at that. Shilu, was there anything you wanted to do?
Well, Shiloh would really like to complain to the gambler about broadcasting the events of the box to everyone in the casino, but he's not going to do that. He's just going to stick with Master Kiranu and make sure that he eats and then goes and gets some rest.
Alright. Well, as you are eating and strike up a conversation, you start talking about the things that led you there, and he tells you a little bit more about some of his experiences. He's careful about it, telling you exactly what got him into trouble, but you get the impression that it was more brutal than he's actually saying. That he suffered a lot of physical, but also a bit of emotional damage in the box, outside of the box, and just getting here. But he's very happy to see you and be with you again. But in the middle of the conversation, he says, and so when I saw you, you and your friends and your sister it was all kind of fast and a blur. But when she was talking to you, I realized that some of it was true. Some of what she said was true.
What do you mean, Master?
Well, to some degree, I did take you away from your family, and without regard for them or what could become of them.
Yeah, Shiloh sort of laughs derisively.
You didn't take me away, Master, and if you did, I'm sure my mother was glad for it.
No offense, Shiloh, but I don't really care that much about what your mother thinks. But the simple truth is, I think what we saw in the box is true. Your sister probably is force sensitive. But explain why she was able to direct you towards me when she did. Which is why I'm not going to be staying with you for this mission.
You're not.
I think I'm going to leave as soon as you're safely off.
Do you have access to a ship? Are you headed back to Manan?
I can make my way. I have a few favors I can still pull in. And I feel like I've made some establishment with the gambler. But yes, I'm going back to Manan. I know you will fear for your sister as much as I do. Well, more, in fact. I feel it's only fair for me to correct my mistake the first time by going back and ensuring her safety.
I don't want you to feel as though it was your mistake, Master. Although I will say that it comforts me greatly to know that you'll be going back there to check on her. I wish I could go as well, but I would like to see that Nuthala is safe.
And you should. Even if you insisted on coming with me, I'd make you go through this. Force is pulling you in this direction. I don't know why, in spite of my best efforts to keep you from the dangers of this world too soon. Something has brought you here. You should see it through. When it's over, then you can come in and see us, check up on us. But in the meantime, I feel that this is your destiny, and mine lies where it has always lied, in the aiding of others.
Well, when you reach Manan, and hopefully find my sister well, you should try to reach out to me and let me know that everything is well.
Of course I will.
And if you will not be accompanying us on the ship, do you have any guidance for me on how I might be able to heal Ajak?
Carefully. And as many things with the Force, there is more than just the physical. I believe some of his injury is tied to his past. There is an emotional part of him that has to be healed too. I think once you figure out sort of the reason, the emotional center that's sort of attached to it, then and only then will it be completely healed. But you can certainly begin the process. the physical aspects will be easier than the other, but over time, and careful attention paid to it, he should recover fairly quickly. At least quickly in spite of all things.
Yes, master.
So, why don't you tell me again some of this, about this colony and the some of its members. You mentioned this sort of Rhodian barterer. I'm confused as to why he's allowed to continue in such way. And you guys continue on your conversation, switching back over to the other group. All right, so Ajak, you thought about what you're gonna get?
Yeah, he's gonna get detonate in that timer.
Okay.
So he's gonna walk over and ring the bell.
Bing, bing, bing.
She quickly rushes out. Yes?
Ma'am, I was wondering if I could purchase detonate in a timer.
Of course, of course. I assume you've seen the price tag?
Well, as long as it's standard price, yes.
$7.50.
Yep.
All right. Then they are yours. Same with the credits.
And he'll hand it over.
Okay. She takes it over and she says, "Now, due to the nature of where we are, I do need to warn you that if you're caught with this, you're likely to get arrested, as it's not technically legal and you technically need a license. But, you know, most of you people don't really care that much. I just figure it's, you know, good enough for me to just say I'm not liable if you get caught with this."
You know, I think people just expect Mandalorians to be carrying explosives anyway.
At the mention of Mandalorian, she kind of, her smile sort of freezes a little, and she kind of gives you an uncomfortable nod. And, yeah, right. Well, is there anything else I can do for you?
I think that's about it. When should I come back to pick up the data pad?
Oh yeah, that 2 hours?
Alright, sounds good, thank you.
Uh-huh. And then she quickly goes back into the back room.
Oh, this poor girl.
Well, she obviously wasn't paying attention because I've been wearing my armor the whole time. Anyway, you said something about getting food.
And Kalani's stomach grumbles again.
Aye, lad. I figured we might as well get some food. Since it appears to have been 2 days, give or take, and we do need to tend to ourselves eventually. Last time I checked, I wasn't a Jedi, and I'm not sure how long y'all can go without food, but pretty certain Mandalorians couldn't go that long either.
Yeah, I could definitely use some food and some rest.
And nothing against our resident Jedi here. I'm certain your skills are quite capable, and but I need food. And from the sound of your stomach, you do too.
Yes. She nods vigorously.
Alright. You all make your way to the cafeteria and manage to form one large table with Shiloh and his master, who are already eating. His master is starting a second plate by the time you guys get there. Very shortly after, Pakaz and Dakaya come from a room, and they also get a plate of food and join you, although kind of off towards the end so that she can teach him. Those of you that want to listen in, you can hear some of what she's saying too and teaching him. But you all are kind of eating, talking, listening, just kind of having your first sort of relaxing night since really meeting each other. And I think we'll end it here for tonight. Unless there's player conversation you guys want to have.
I don't know.
Well, I think I will say to Kalani,
It seems like Pakaz is building up quite a rapport with the Sith here.
Kalani's ears twitch. She looks kind of concerned. Yes, I'm not quite sure what to make of that.
Do you think it is wise to let him construct a lightsaber crystal with Dakaya's help?
Well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go and say, oh, hey, sorry, you can't do that anymore? If you start a conflict here, we'll never make it back in time to save everyone.
Well, he's not planning on making the crystal until after this is all over.
I don't pretend to get involved, but I think we should keep an eye on it, but don't make any decisions yet.
Well, I suppose I could at least suggest to attempt to find a natural crystal. But
That seems like...
Pakaz is Pakaz.
So what is the difference between a natural and an artificial crystal? I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that.